Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, you may be wondering about that noise at the intro. Well, I just realized that we've got worse things to worry about than political American issues, an evil computer-generated maniac influencing bad movies, or an evil crystal master collecting the Wicked Nine. You see, as most of you know, as of 2 months ago, our universe is in great danger, courtesy of Thanos. Now, even though I haven't blogged the new Avengers movie, due to it being a bit complicated for me to work on, I thought it was an epic, though it was tragic due to Thanos succeeding in collecting all the Infinity Stones and disintegrating half of humanity. And I just pray that Thanos has not disintegrated any of my childhood friends, nor the people I follow on the internet. However, as I watched the film, I realized that there was one member of the Marvel heroes who wasn't there. Ant-Man. As you probably remember from my blogs of the 2015 film and Captain America Civil War, I considered Ant-Man as one of my favorite Marvel heroes next to Spider-Man and the Black Panther. But with Ant-Man's absence in Infinity War, makes you wonder what he's been up to recently. Well, just a couple weeks ago, Marvel gave us a new Ant-Man movie. So, let's get started. Released on July 6th, 2018, the movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, let's get started. Now, in this movie, Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, is grappling with the consequences of his choices as both being a superhero and a father. Approached by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym, Lang must once again don the Ant-Man suit and fight alongside the Wasp. The urgent mission soon leads to secret revelations from the past as the dynamic duo finds itself in an epic battle against a powerful new enemy. So, what do I think of this movie anyway? Well, in my opinion, it was really amazing, except for that cliffhanger during the end credits. But to further explain why I enjoyed the movie, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, talks for a sequel to Ant-Man began shortly after that film was released. Ant-Man and the Wasp was officially announced in October 2015. A month later, Reed was officially returning from Ant-Man to direct the movie. It was said that he was really excited to develop the movie from the beginning after joining the first film later in the process. Filming took place from August to November 2017 at Pinewood Atlanta Studios in Fayette County in Georgia, as well as Metro Atlanta in San Francisco, as well as Savannah, Georgia, and Hawaii. Now, like most Marvel movies, the best parts of the movie to me are the action and fight sequences. And I really like the scene where the bad guys chase our heroes through the San Francisco streets. Plus, I like the shrinking and growing effects, which, in my opinion, are more advanced compared to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Also, the ants featured in this movie, whether being the little tiny crawly ones or the big helpful ones, are really cool. What's more, the Quantum Realm reminds me of an old Disneyland ride called Adventures Through Inner Space. And that's basically all I have for Mustang notes. So, let's move on to the cast. Our main character, Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, is once again played by Paul Rudd, who got to be in Halloween 6, Monsters vs. Aliens, and The Little Prince, which I think my sister and I should get together to blogging later this month. Anyway, as mentioned before, Ant-Man is a former criminal who acquired a suit that allows him to shrink or grow in scale, which also increasing in strength. In this movie, following the events of Captain America Civil War, Scott is sentenced to 2 years house arrest, but that doesn't stop him from doing hero work, along with Hank and Hope. In my opinion, Scott has become skilled when fighting evil. Unfortunately, his shrinking abilities sometimes malfunctions in this movie. Scott's partner and love interest, Hope Van Dyne, aka Wasp, is once again played by Evangeline Lilly, best known from the Hobbit sequels. The writers were excited to properly introduce the character as the Wasp, showing her power set, how she fights, and what are the injustices that matter to her. Lilly felt the character has incredible satisfaction in becoming the Wasp, something that she has been waiting for her whole life, which is essentially an affirmation from her father. Her relationship with Scott is more complicated than in the first film, and includes anger towards his actions during Civil War. Despite the whole relationship thing, I still think Hope is a skilled fighter. Hope's father, Hank Pym, is again played by Michael Douglas. Hank is a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who became the original Ant-Man after discovering the subatomic particles that make the transformation possible. Pym has grown a lot closer to his daughter Hope since the first movie, and according to producer Kevin Feige, he has that joy of fatherhood in watching her become a superheroine in her own right. In my opinion, Hank is still a great character as he was in the first film, and I think he was very brave when going through the quantum realm to get his wife back. Also, I like how he shrinks or grows his lab in order to keep it secured. And I find it pretty interesting that he keeps a set of toy cars in order to shrink or grow in order to make a getaway. Next we come to Scott's daughter, Cassie, played by Abby Ryder Fortson. In my opinion, Cassie is very supportive of her father, kind of like how my goddaughter Elizabeth is to me. Also, if Marvel is watching this video, I hope in the future that they'll make Cassie into a superheroine named Stinger, like in the comics. Next we have Louise, Scott's former cellmate and member of his ex-con security crew, once again played by Michael Pena, best known from World Trade Center, Turbo, A Wrinkle in Time, and My Little Pony the movie. To me, Louise is a great supporting character, although I didn't really like the part where someone injected him with truth serum. Next we have Sonny Birch, a low-level criminal type man played by Walton Goggins. Now, this guy seeks to obtain Hank Pym's technology for sale on the black market. That sounds pretty cliched for a gangster like him. Next we come to Jimmy Woo, an FBI agent and Scott's parole officer, played by Randall Park. Now, to be honest, while this guy is trying to do his job by protecting the law, I think by the way he monitors Scott makes him less like a cop and more like a stalker. Next up is Ava Starr, aka Ghost, played by Hannah John-Kamen, who got to be in Star Wars Episode 7 and Ready Player One. Now, Ghost is a woman with molecular instability who can phase through objects. She is only considered a villain because her attempts at survival clash with the hero's goals. The character is traditionally portrayed as a man in the comics, but the creative team believed that the character's gender was irrelevant to its portrayal and felt casting a woman would be more interesting. And to be honest, I actually kind of agree with them. Also, John-Kamen enjoyed this blank slate aspect, allowing her to mold the character as her own. In my opinion, Ghost is one of the few villains I feel sympathy for. Plus, her backstory on what happened to her parents and to her body was actually very heartbreaking. Next we have Ava's caretaker, Bill Foster, played by Lawrence Fishburne. Now, Bill is an old friend of Hank, who was once his assistant on Project Goliath. Fishburne had approached Marvel about joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe, pitching them a few ideas for whom he could portray. Before Marvel offered him the role of Foster in the film, despite having already portrayed Perry White for the DC Extended Universe, Fishburne admitted that he had always fantasized about being in an MCU movie, admitting that he considered himself a Marvel guy. Director Reed likened the rivalry between Foster and Pym to that of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and wanted an actor who can go toe-to-toe with Michael Douglas. Finally, we come to Hope's mother, Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, best known from Grease 2, Stardust, Tim Burton's Dark Shadows, Hairspray, and The Prince of Egypt. Janet was lost in the quantum realm prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Pfeiffer had been Reed's dream casting for the role since he was working on the first movie, and ensured that he got her input on what the role should be. He noted that the character has spent 30 years in the quantum realm, so there is a question regarding how that has affected her. The decision to have the character age over those 30 years, even though time works differently in the quantum realm, was made to avoid any sci-fi weirdness that could take away from the emotional reunions with Pym and Hope in the movie. And now, let's move on to my final words. Overall, Ant-Man and the Wasp is a great superhero movie next to The Incredibles 2 and Black Panther. The action is thrilling and exciting. The ants in this movie are cool. The characters like Scott and Hope make a great team. Hank and Louise, along with Cassie, are great supporting characters. Sonny Birch was a predictable gangster. Jimmy Woo wasn't really a good cop in my eyes. Ghost was a sympathetic villain. And of course, Janet had a lot of character build-up. And I'm happy that she's back with her family again, even though Thanos has disintegrated her along with Hank and Hope. Hopefully, by next year, Thanos will be defeated and the universe will be saved. As for my final rating, I give Ant-Man and the Wasp a 96% out of 100. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to join... Oh? And which movie would the subscriber like me to blog? They want me to blog Armageddon, right? Okay then. Better get to work. Be sure to join me again next time. Mustang Power.